Hello, this is Mark L. White for Health Hacks. And today we have Jennifer Dubicki and Gigi Aducci. Did I get your last name right?
You did. Perfect.
Oh, I feel so good. And you're with a Vitalized Performance Group. You're up in Connecticut, correct?
Correct.
Welcome so much to the show. And I'm reading through what you guys do. And you mentioned a holistic clinic, but tell me a little bit more. What does that mean, a holistic clinic?
Well, holistic modalities, there's quite a few different modalities. We specialize in naturopathic medicine. We have a naturopath. We have an acupuncturist, which is your 4,000-year-old
Mhm.
men. Naturopaths are known to be new age medicines. They research and maybe get right on it and start some lab work and looking for things before your medical doctor can go and look and see what's the new thing, what should we be looking for. So natural are maybe ahead by 15 years sometimes, in that sense. And a cold hydrotherapist is just somebody who just cleans out your pipe and gets you feeling better.
I got to start with that. A colon hide, like, does that mean you get water shot up your butt to clean your colon?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Why? It sounds interesting, but what's the benefits of that? Like, why would somebody do that? Is it painful?
No, it's like cramping when you're moving bowels, that kind of cramping. It should not be painful. We use the Lippy system, which is an open system where you can urinate and your feces go right in a hole and you can actually see what comes out. And it's not always feces, sometimes we'll see some biofilm, something might have you swallowed as a child might be stuck in there and it comes out. So your large intestine is your garbage can. And sometimes we hold like 40 pounds of feces in our colons. And
That's a
there's
lot
no
of
reason
feces.
to
That's a
have
lot
that.
of
It just,
feces.
right, because we don't eat right, right? So we're not eating enough fiber, we're not drinking enough water. The American diet's really horrible for our bodies. And we can't eliminate like we used to do when we were just eating seeds and fruits and vegetables. Um, in the wild, we were going constantly. So a lot has changed. So it gets stuck. So the longer something stays in there, you're fermenting this waste that can go into the bloodstream, that can now produce things like skin issues and headaches and mood swings, and some will say depression. Some people experience relief with IBS, um, after having a series of colonics that get rid of those trouble stuck on areas. So it does a lot.
It's like cleaning out your garbage can and just getting it cleaned every now and then.
Yeah.
Now let's say I've never had that done. Does that mean the first time I go, you guys are like, oh my God, I need an extra mask and it's going to be terrible because it's 50 years of never doing it? Or
We don't smell anything. So the Libby or even the closed system, so any colonic is a good colonic, right? So if you're only next to a person who only has the closed system, you're never going to smell anything. It's not going to be embarrassing. So we have the open system, so I'll just focus on that one. It's a little tube. It's smaller than my finger. It only inserts into the anus just about that much, and that's it. Um, it's nothing to it. It's gravity fed water. It's clean. It's clean water that we filtered 3 times. So you're getting all this hydration being put in. Uh, After your cleansing, we give you an electrolyte to replenish some of the electrolytes you might have lost during the procedure, and we give you an enzyme. So next time you eat something, now that you have all this emptiness, you're not so gassy or bloated when you eat the next thing. So we provide an enzyme for you as well.
so how often should somebody get this done?
Well, we suggest if it's your first time coming in, um, and you got to come in kind of close together again so we can really get in there and clean out the wastebasket. Um, and that's it. You just want to just kind of clean it out, and then you do as many as it takes to either get to your problem area, and you'll decide, you'll decide, hey, I'm already feeling better, and I'm my second or third one, and I'm already feeling better. I'm done. Like, I feel good. I think I can do a series of 3 once a year, and that's my goal. Some people want to clean out the entire garbage can, and that could take 6 to 8 treatments, and you want to do them as about 5 days apart from each other, and that could be a series of 6 or 10 treatments, depending on how your diet is. And then you can start doing a series of 3 once a year for a while.
So when you have this done, the benefits are less gas, less bloat. What are the other health benefits?
Well, there's tons of information on our website. We also give out pamphlets that discuss this. According to the FDA, we don't treat or cure or anything, but people do experience, if you read our testimonials or other people who have colonics, their testimonials are pretty amazing. Like, it helped with IBS, it helped with constipation, it helped their other organs are functioning better, with fatty liver and other things improved. Some people claim they're not depressed anymore. Like, it helped with just looking at life in a better way. It increased energy for people, just all sorts of stuff.
Do you tell somebody coming in there, go to the bathroom before you come in, or?
If it's their first time, like, let's say you came in and it's my first time, I bet you're going to be nervous. And when you're nervous, your bowels act up. And usually people go right before they get on the machine. But, we have, your colon's very long. So if we were to stretch out your colon, it's pretty much as tall as you are. So there's always going to be plenty to get to. So you just made it a little more bang for your buck, let's say. So you cleaned out on the toilet, now you're on my machine, and now we're just going to get in a little further. That's all.
How did you get into this, Gigi? Because that's something like it.
How does one do this? I get that question all the time. Usually we have a story, most of us colon hydrotherapists. So I was born with IBS. I don't know a time in my life where I was always that kid that ate something and killed over in pain. I knew that if I ate ice cream, I would have to pay for it, and that was something I remember as early as 5 years old. My digestion was pretty bad from the beginning, and then I had Crohn's colitis, and my naturopath put me back together again. Through diet changes, increasing water intake and supplements, and my colon healed, right? I put my body in a position where my body can heal. I also used an acupuncturist to align my meridians and my signals in my body to start communicating, my head to communicate with the rest of my body, and my organs just have things flowing again in proper direction. So when you get sick, like an autoimmune disease, it's a pretty serious thing, and you kind of need like a team. And I also needed my GIs. I needed to get those tests done. I needed to get that diagnosis. So everyone plays a very key role in healing, between your MDs and your naturopath, and you bring in other people like your acupuncturist or your chiropractor, and oral cranial sacral was very important for my healing. And then you kind of move backwards in disease. And then I got IBS, right? I still had IBS, my initial root cause. So I had to clear that out. So I read a book, 15 colonics in 30 days, and that's what we did. That's what I did, or I tried to do. I did 13 in 45 days. And it was that last colonic, that 13th colonic, was after a liver gallbladder cleanse the night before. And when I released all that bile and those little salts and all that passed out, I didn't even know that I looked at life the way I did. Everything looked better. Everything looked clearer. I was more upbeat. I think I was more fun to be around. you know, that kind of thing. I felt well. It was the first time in my life, I think I was 30 years old. It was the first time I ever experienced wellness and vitality. The very first time at 30 years old.
And it's amazing now that you have experienced that, that you're passionate about helping others. I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Now, acupuncture being, you mentioned acupuncture, and like I don't think right away of acupuncture and colonics as kind of being under the same umbrella. I think of acupuncturists as Eastern medicine, and I do have one experience with acupuncture. About 15 years ago, I was going through a lot of anxiety, and I remember they put needles in my ear, and I believed it helped, but I only did it one time, and I wasn't sure. Like back then, I was a little skeptical about acupuncture in general, but I know it's very, very popular, and people that do it often swear by it. How did you? You're also an acupuncturist, correct?
Not me, Jennifer.
Okay, Jennifer, you're the
Yeah.
acupuncturist.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is
so
a
I
nice,
do the acupuncture.
this is a nice blend. We have, you come in for your acupuncture and then you go get your colon cleaned and get it all cleansed out on the same day. But how does acupuncture help us get to ultimate wellness?
So with acupuncture, there are meridians that run vertically up and down the body, and there are energetic pathways that connect directly to the organs. When we have disease or syndromes, the idea is that there's a blockage or an imbalance in those meridians. So what the acupuncture needles do is they go in and help and unblock the meridian. They'll strengthen certain organs. In the case of if you're coming in to cleanse yourself, we would focus mainly on the liver. So if the liver is stagnated, you'll end up with things like IBS or constipation. You'll also end up with, anger, irritability. Stressed out people also have stagnant livers. So we see a lot of that. The idea is really to unblock that pathways to help strengthen and clean out the body.
Okay, and how generally if somebody's coming in, and I know that it's also used for a lot of, or my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you see a lot of people coming in for anxiety or drug addiction or sleep problems.
Okay, so the drug addiction points are actually located in the ear, and they're a very popular set of 5 points that was actually designed in the 70s in France. So there are studies done that those particular 5 points help to shut off the pleasure system in the brain. And as far as addiction goes, it's known that people who have addiction tendencies, the pleasure system of the brain is overactive. So those needles will help to calm down that area. And that's why it's used so widely in addiction and rehab centers. With anxiety and sleep disorders, the root cause is different for every person that comes in. So most people who practice traditional Chinese medicine will do a diagnosis of you actually through your tongue. Your tongue is kind of a map to your body. So it lets us know really what's going on and what that root cause is. And from there, we can say, are you having an energy blockage in the heart? Or is it more of a hormone issue, which would be related to the kidneys in Chinese medicine? And we would pick and choose our points from there.
How long does it take for somebody to get benefits from seeing you?
So if you're coming in with an acute injury, say you got into a car accident and you have back pain, you should see benefits that day. If you're coming in with something that's been going on for several years, generally I tell patients to give me 8 to 12 treatments, do them once a week, and then we can make a plan from there and start to do maintenance treatments. Because if it doesn't happen overnight, it doesn't get cured overnight.
Have you seen it being used at all for preventative medication, or like just staying or feeling well, feeling healthy, so these
Yes.
things don't happen?
So patients usually tend to come in because they have some sort of medical issue going on. once we've cleared up that issue where they're feeling healthy again, most patients do start on a preventative medicine kind of protocol. So they'll come in once or twice a month. And I've been doing this for almost 15 years. And patients will say that come in regularly won't get colds, flus, things like that. Things people that used to tend towards headaches get much less headaches. So it is used widely for preventative medicine.
Now, it's been around for 3,000 years. How did, well, I guess first question is, how did you learn about it, or why did you decide to become an acupuncturist? And two, how popular it, like, I think here in the US, it's seen, well, let's start with the first question on how did you get involved with this? And then I'll go to the second question.
So I actually got involved in acupuncture when I was in high school. I developed severe migraines, like a lot of teenage girls. And my mom took me to all sorts of doctors, and we finally ended up at an acupuncturist, and the migraines disappeared. So when I went to further my education, I went to undergrad school actually to be a teacher, and decided it really wasn't for me. And I thought back to how much acupuncture really worked and how interesting it was to me. So I ended up going to grad school for it and sticking with the career. I love it.
And then I guess the second question is, I think in the US, it's seen as almost fringe. I believe in it. But in Asia or in Eastern medicine, it's almost like this is the standard of care, my understanding. How do you get mainstream acceptance for that here when it flies in the face of traditional medicine here in the US?
That is a good question. So my first 10 years of practice, I practiced in the state of Florida, where acupuncturists and herbalists are considered primary care physicians.
Mhm.
It wasn't until I moved to Connecticut where I realized that there is such a blockage against accepting the traditional Chinese medicine as a medicine that can, correspond with our Western medicine. And I really think the key to getting it more accepted is things like this, people talking about it more, educating people on it.
And when you talk about blockages and meridians, people will say, okay, that's more spiritual or more, you know, somebody will say, well, is this evidence-based? Because I know here, like in Western medicine, everything, well, we have to have evidence-based, and the FDA has to weigh in on it. Even though like everything is always created by people on the fringes, then it later becomes mainstream. But my question is like, what kind of evidence have you seen showing acupuncture works, and what does it work best on?
So it's most traditionally known to treat pain. And the reason it treats pain so well is because it immediately causes an immune response in the body. Um, when you get into an accident or hurt yourself, you have immediate inflammation. When we put the needles in, it's causing an immune response that's causing your body to go to that area to help heal it quickly. That's why it's so widely accepted for pain. But to be honest with you, the things I've seen it work incredibly on are anxiety, depression, insomnia, menopause. There's a big one that it works great on, and headaches.
Okay. And like the people that also come in, what other modalities do you recommend that you guys offer besides the colonics? You do a lot with supplementation.
Yeah, so I'm also a licensed herbalist.
Okay.
So I use traditional Chinese medicine as well with our patients. I do cupping techniques and also Tuina, which is Chinese massage. And we also have a naturopath in our office.
Yeah, it's funny because I think in Eastern medicine, I've always understood that the job of a healer in China or in the East is to keep your patients healthy so they don't get sick. And if your patient ends up becoming sick and ill, the healer hasn't done a good job. Whereas here, the incentive system is different. It's like, okay, let's wait until our patients get sick before we work with them. Would you say most of your patients are coming to you because they're otherwise healthy and they just want to stay the course with cupping and with the acupuncture?
Unfortunately, no, that is not the case. People usually come to us because they're in pain or because they're feeling unwell. And it isn't until we get them on the path to wellness that we really sit down and have that conversation about preventative medicine.
Has a lot of these people tried Western medicine and the reliance on pharmaceuticals, and those have failed them, or are they going to you guys first?
So I would say for me, it's kind of a 70%, 30%. 70% have tried the Western medicine and it hasn't worked. And they come to us as their last resort. 30% of people have done a lot of research and educating themselves and come in. And at that point, it's usually more of a preventative medicine.
Do you guys ever do any, like, do you guys come in, have the same patient, do like a colonics and acupuncture special?
Yeah, we definitely do. Every month, we
Cool.
actually offer different specials.
So I just wanted to say, sometimes I'll have somebody on on the Libby and they're tense, and I'll have them I go, Jennifer, can you give them an acupuncture? Because we're not going to get that far in the colonics if this guy is this tense. So she'll give him acupuncture and he'll have a better result on the Libby on the machine. So it works hand in hand all the time. Or so Jennifer helps with their anxiety or their pain, or just to help the bowels move through acupuncture. We also have some chronically ill people that come through the doors, and sometimes they can't get a colonic. They come in here for colonics. They see us. We're on Groupon. They'll come. They'll see us on Groupon. I want a colonic, and we're like, I'm sorry, you can't have a colonic. You know, there's a lot of contraindications. So then they'll go to the naturopath and through Jennifer get a little healing going on and get stronger to be able to do colonics and to do it efficiently.
What is a
So it goes hand
contraindication?
in hand. Healing is not, you don't go to one person. If you only went to your medical doctor, you're not going to get that healing. If you only went to the naturopath, you're going to get better, but you're not going to get that overall wellness. When you create this team, when you create these holistics and you bring them together and you know how you're doing it, I'm an integrative patient navigator. So I kind of took like 15 classes in 101 of acupuncture, naturopath, herbology, and like many things. And I can tell you, you come in with your health issue, and I'm like, you know what, we're going to build this team. So the main people are in this office. You have your naturopath, you have your acupuncture, and your colon therapist. So we call it the exit plan, right? So you go to the first guys, the naturopath and the acupuncturist, and I'm usually the exit plan.
Like, I'm trying to think of a joke around the exit plan and
Are you?
colonics, but I have a lot of jokes there. But I love that term, integrative patient navigator, because I think when a lot of people come see you, they don't really know what they need.
Right.
And your job is to figure it out. You mentioned something about contraindications for colonics. What would those contraindications be?
So if your colon's not intact, if you have an inflamed colon, any of the itises, diverticulitis, colitis, anybody who's on current chemo care that are receiving chemo radiation, so their sphincters might be tight and closed, and they can't even put like a little finger or the little tube inside. They can get hurt. So we have to wait till they're done with all of that to detox. And there's some other stuff like hernias and things like that are contraindications. But the good news is we don't have to turn these people away. We have others in the office that can help address those root causes, their health issues.
No, that's really amazing. And one thing I think you mentioned early on was that you guys do coaching.
Yes, we have an amazing nutritional health coach, and she comes into play. So let's say Jennifer puts a plan together, and the natural path has a plan together, and I have, and she's also a cold range therapist as well, and she puts in a plan, and we put in a plan together to fix, and we all have something, and now the health coach is here to help them initiate that. So let's say somebody's trying to lose weight and they don't know what's the first step to do, or what do I eat when I go to a restaurant? So she'll go to the restaurant with you. Well, she'll sit with you in the restaurant. She'll go over the meals. She'll look at the prescriptions from the medical doctors and our doctors here at Vitalize Performance Group, and just put something together to help them implement a diet and choose recipes, and go to the grocery store and say, here, this is the aisle you should be looking at, stay away from these aisles, so there's somebody like hands-on, one-on-one, to help that person truly achieve their wellness goals.
That's awesome. I really, I love your passion, and I think what you guys are doing are amazing. What's next on the horizon for you?
Rule the world.
Rule the world one anus at a time.
No, change healthcare. We want to educate. We're reaching out to our neighbors, our medical doctors that are all around us, our DOs, our MDs, our surgeons, everyone. And we want them to know that we are here. If we work together between their knowledge and our knowledge, we can really help their patients achieve incredible results, and we're tired of the industry just failing patients, getting them more sick, getting them more medicated, falling apart. I think we're done with that. I think everyone's done with that. I think everybody knows medication's not the answer. They're sick of it. We have people coming in our doors like, I don't want to be on this pill anymore. I'm done with this. I want to get better. And I want to do it without it. Please help me. And they're begging, and they're done. And I feel like we can help these medical providers get amazing patient results by adding us, by saying, hey, go to this holistic clinic, add them to your wellness team, start building a wellness team. I can't do it alone. Admit that. First admit there is a problem, and add people to them, start promoting us, start, getting their patients involved with people like us.
I agree with what you're saying. And I think there's definitely a place for traditional healthcare. There's definitely the need for people to have alternative options to stay healthy, but the way you best serve people is by working together. Traditional healthcare has to understand how you help people, and you guys work with traditional healthcare to make sure ultimately the patient has amazing results.
Yeah, we can coexist, and I think a lot of people are scared to send people to a naturopath, but they shouldn't. We need everyone. We need our medical doctors, we need our surgeons. Everybody comes into play at some time. And unfortunately, you have so many people on the far left saying, I'll never do drugs, I'll never have a surgery, and they'll die because they won't do it, right? And then on the other hand, you have somebody, I don't believe in holistic care, that's voodoo, or something like that. And then they'll die because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. There is a middle ground, and people have to learn that it takes a lot of people to get you well, especially with all the poisons that are coming through us. We're getting in all sorts of ways, through the air, through our food, through our lifestyles. So we're constantly bombarded, and we just need some help.
Yeah, and I think over time that changes, because I also, you guys are in Connecticut, and when I talk to practitioners that are in the West Coast, in Oregon and California, Washington State, it seems that they're more open to naturopaths, alternative medicines. Maybe it just hasn't made its way up the Northeast yet.
Well, I'm from New York originally, and if I was sick in New York, I would probably die, right? I wouldn't be here right now. Because insurance does not cover naturopathic medicine down there. And I think Connecticut's not a horrible place to be sick, because naturopaths, at least some insurances do cover it. So it's not a bad place. Some insurances cover acupuncture. It helped a lot that insurances did cover these things. If I stayed in New York, I wouldn't, they're not even there. I wouldn't even know how to find one. But you're right. There's a lot of improvement that needs to happen, a lot.
Well, it's going to happen thanks to you guys, thanks to your passion. I really appreciate it. If a patient or a listener is listening to this and they wanted to get in touch with you guys, what's the best place?
They can visit our website at vpgwaves.com or give us a call 860-800-6775.
Gigi, Jennifer, I really appreciate your time. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.